Well, 75% of the students, 75 to 85% of those students coming into the College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences say that they want to become a healthcare professional. And most of the time that means a physician. But the reality is kind of different. That would be about 2,000 people, by the way. The reality is a little bit different. And it's not all bad news. I think in some ways it's good news. One of the things that happens when students get here is that they start exploring things that they never knew about before. And they find that there are other options, especially in health professions, that are going to allow them to do the things that they're best at and that they really want to do. And it may or may not be medicine. So every year at UCR, we actually have about 150 UCR graduates who apply to medical school. Now, some of those people may have graduated as long as 10 years ago. There was recently an attorney who was applying to medical school. There is one applicant who, for the last 6 years, has applied every year with the same numbers. Still didn't get in. I mean, it's not like the lottery. You can't just keep playing. But out of that 150, every year about 50 are accepted. In the last couple of years, we have seen those numbers go up, and we have seen not only the number of people getting offers of admission, but the number of admissions they're being offered. So we have a number of students who've had offers of as many as 4 or 5 different medical schools, more than one dental school. We have one dental applicant, I think now has 5 offers of admission. So one of the things that we really want to promote is helping students cast a wide net and make sure that they get into a school that's going to be the kind of program that they want, so they have choices. But the reality is you need to get into one of these to be successful to become healthcare professional. 24 of those 50 people who get in, more than 50 now, will go into the UCR School of Medicine. And that's important to note because I'm sure most of you know the UCR School of Medicine, the first inaugural class for the new 4 years at UCR medical school began last fall. And they have continued in that medical school to honor the agreement that we had before when we had the UCRiverside program, that there would be 24 seats for UCR grads. With the new medical school, there will still be up to those 24 seats. Now, the applicants still have to be highly qualified and very competent, but there's a big difference when you're competing for 24 seats and you're one of 150 competing for 24 seats. Anybody have any idea how many people apply a year to, say, UCLA? Anybody's already guessed? Thousands, yeah. It's somewhere 6,000 to 7,000 for a couple hundred seats. So I think you can see that being at UCR really provides a great opportunity in terms of likelihood for admission. But there's much more for the UCR School of Medicine than just that, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And we have about 1 in 3 of our dental school applicants getting in, and again, about 40 to 60 of them are applying every year. Again, the numbers are going up. We just keep seeing the numbers go up and up, and we see the acceptance is going up and up. With pharmacy this last year, it was interesting this last year, we thought, wow, boy, we did really well. We had 67% of our applicants got in. But nationally, those numbers went way up too. So this is in response to the need for more healthcare providers, and that's going to continue, particularly with the Healthcare Reform Act. And we have similar numbers for other health professions. We have students in, we have 2 students in public health at Johns Hopkins right now. We have 2 at Johns Hopkins in special nursing programs, and we have students in a variety of programs, different options in the health profession. So one of the things to keep in mind is that one of the reasons that our numbers are kind of skewed is not all the health professions report the numbers, and not all applicants have to report to us that they have applied to a particular school. So I always want to make sure that that's really clear. The UC Riverside School of Medicine has a very specific mission, and I think this is really important for you to know if you're thinking about going to this school. They're going to, of course, prepare people to be physicians, with a particular emphasis here on training people who will stay or after their residencies return to the Inland Empire to work in this area because of the incredible, critical healthcare provider shortage that we have, especially with physicians. We have an incredibly small number of physicians given the number of people in this area. So they want to improve the health of the medically underserved and become models. And actually, I think the UCR School of Medicine is already becoming a model because there is, by intention, no university hospital. I bet you're used to saying, well, there's a university hospital with a medical school. What's happening here is that those opportunities will be in the community. So our students are out in affiliates, whether it's Riverside Community Hospital or any other number of the affiliates. And there's also a greater emphasis on prevention and health promotion. So very often when someone's in medical school, they're in the hospital with very seriously ill people. When that's very important, that needs to happen, but at the same time, there's an emphasis on health and wellness, health promotion, and that's a big part of what the UC Riverside School of Medicine is about. So this is a frequent question. I was asked this question already this morning, okay, more than once. How many of your applicants get in? Sometimes that question is phrased as, how many applicants do you get into medical school? Well, there's actually some other considerations, some more important considerations that you can look at for any institution that is preparing students to apply to health professions. And it's about what this institution provides to support that pre-health, pre-med student. Because in the end, it really is what the student accomplishes and what kind of guidance there is for that student to achieve his or her goal. So when you're looking at schools, one of the questions to ask is, how does this institution advise and support students considering a health professions career? At the Health Professions Advising Center, we use a developmental model, which means we like to see students starting already in the freshman year, if they know then that they're interested in the health profession. But if they don't decide until the second year, the third year, the fourth year, we'll start working with them as soon as they know. But we want to provide that support all along the way. And I know Catherine can tell you very recently that I think the next most grueling thing after getting through that MCAT or medical college admission test is going on the road to interview at schools, going to cities you've never been to and interview for application to medical school. And we work with students from that very beginning of the freshman year all the way through that interview process, and then celebrate when they get in. And we're big on those celebrations, right guys? If there is, because often you will find with schools, there is a published acceptance rate for that school. Sometimes you'll see 85% of our students get in, 90% of our students get in, 95% of our students get in. And sometimes that's true. There are some schools, like Duke has like a 95% acceptance rate. But the question that you need to be asking is, are those applicants that the institution endorsed? Because they may be only counting the students who've gone through what's called the committee letter process and have been endorsed by the institution. And not necessarily everybody who applied in a given application cycle. We don't have a committee letter process here. Many large institutions don't. And students are free to apply anytime. We make suggestions, strong suggestions, but if a student chooses to apply, they will apply. So you need to know where those numbers come from. And I will tell you what we've discovered with our numbers, as best we can tell. We think that about 67% of the students who go through HPAC, who work with advisors, are getting into medical school. And I'm not focusing only on medical school because I think it's more important, but because that's where we get the most data is from medical school. So we know at least that students who are getting advising are being accepted at a higher rate. And then the other question to be asking is, what will you, the student, need to do in order to prepare to be a competitive applicant? How many people do you think apply to medical school in a given year?
A lot.
This is the way it is when you stand in front of a class like this, too. Everyone venture a guess?
500.
Thousands. I think this last year it went up about 6%. It's up to over 45,000 people applying to medical school. Yeah, it's like, whoa. Okay, and about 20,000 get in. So it's an acceptance rate of about 43, 44%, and it stayed pretty steady at that number for quite some time. So what do you need to do? How are you going to stand out from among all those students? And I can tell you right now, because we can see, only the health professions advisors can see data about the application process for our institution if the student has what we call release to advisor. And a couple of students who never came in for advising actually released to advisor, which means that I saw their information. And they have, they're reapplying, by the way, and they're reapplying after applying the first time with a GPA of, well, between the two of them, 3.7, 3.8, and about 38s on the MCAT. The highest you can score on the MCAT is a 45, so 38 is a really, really high number. The average is right around 30, 29 or 30. They did not get in anywhere, anywhere. And the one thing that I know is that their applications were probably not complete, okay? And from looking at the little information that we do see, we don't see the whole application. Looking at who wrote their letters, my best guess is that they did a whole lot of research, but they never got outside what I call the UCR bubble. And they never got out there and learned about what's going on in the community. So it's that well-roundedness. And I bring this up too, I want to bring this up because I think it's important to let parents know that students who are applying for health professions cannot just study. Yes, they have to study a lot, but they must also be involved in activities. They must be involved in leadership opportunities. They must be involved in service. So parents, when your students, your pre-health students say, I really need to be part of this org, or I need to be doing this activity, they really do need to be doing those activities. We want students also always to be open, to stay open to all of the options that there are in the health professions. And I refer you to this particular website because it is one of the best out there when you're looking at health professions. And even people who think they really know what specialty they want, even what specialty of medicine they want to go into, not just health professions. It's a really smart thing to go out there and look at what else is available for people who want to pursue a health profession. There are about 125 different health professions, and when you click on any of these, then even more opportunities are going to come up, and they explain things like the academic requirements and the job outlook and a lot of really important information. So you may find things that really are of interest to you that you never thought about. So really, we encourage you, and we tell students, even when they start here at UCR, to keep checking this out. Does anybody know what the formula is to be accepted to a health profession program? That would be a good start. There is no formula. Darn. There is no checklist. As a matter of fact, students can sometimes get into trouble with the checklist. They'll come into the office to us and they'll say, well, I'm ready to apply. I did 40 hours here. I did 20 hours here. I did this. And then we ask the student, well, what did you learn? Not just what did you do. What did you learn? What did you learn about yourself? And then we start getting the, okay. So it isn't the number of things that you do necessarily, but it's the commitment over time and the depth of commitment in those activities, as well as really good grades, but maybe not as high as you might think. The range of GPAs, for example, at UCLA is 3.2 to 3.9 for people getting into medical school. UCR is probably about the same, but I will tell you this. Somebody who had a 3.2, a 3.3, or a 3.4 had a whole lot of other good things on that application. There's no magic. I told a student one time that I was sorry that I didn't have a magic wand to make all of